In the last video, we opened a door. We explored the idea that sexual energy, which is your life force energy, is not just for pleasure and not just for creation, but ultimately for transformation. It is a current that, when circulated with intention, become the foundation of something ultimately timeless, the light body, spiritual immortality, not as a metaphor, but as energy architecture built breath by breath. But now the question is, how? How do you actually begin to move this energy throughout your body? How do you stop leaking it? How do you stop suppressing it or letting it burn itself out? And how do you start refining it? Because the truth is, energy doesn't transform just because you want it to transform. It transforms when it is guided through breath, through presence, through ancient pathways that were never truly lost. And in this video, I'll show you exactly how to begin. We'll explore two powerful systems of energy circulation, one from Taoist inner alchemy and one from Egyptian temple science, each one pointing to the same truth. Your body is not just the container, but it is the crucible, and you already hold the map. Your energy is sacred, but sacred doesn't mean static. Energy is like water, and it must flow to stay alive. If it isn't moved, it congeals. If it isn't directed, it fragments. And if it's released without awareness, it returns to the dust before it ever becomes gold. The ancients understood this intimately. They didn't just retain energy, but they refined it. They guided it like a serpent up the spine, like wind through breath, like fire in the womb, like moonlight in the heart. To the ancients, circulation wasn't optional, it was essential, because energy, when moved through sacred pathways, becomes medicine. It actually feeds your organs, it awakens your nervous system, and it sharpens your perception, and it begins to trace the inner scaffolding of your light body. This also isn't a metaphor, but it's a law of subtle alchemy. What you don't move decays. What you don't contain dissipates. But what you do move consciously, what you loop, what you spiral, and what you ultimately raise, that energy becomes architecture, and it becomes your soul in structure. This isn't about suppression, and it's definitely also not about indulgence, but it is about elevation. It is about teaching your body how to circulate desire into awareness, sensation into presence, and life force into light force. Because when energy moves in ritual, it no longer just charges you, but it actually changes you. And eventually it stops being just a practice and it starts becoming the immortal you in motion. Let's begin with the microcosmic orbit. Close your eyes, not in rest, but in reverence. You're about to awaken the temple that lives inside your body. The ancients called it many things. In Taoist alchemy, it is called the microcosmic orbit. In Tantra, it is the Serpent Path, the channel where Shakti climbs up to kiss Shiva. In Kabbalah, it is the path from Yesod to Keter, the ascent of the soul through the tree. In Egyptian mysticism, it is the Djed, the spinal pillar of Osiris, resurrected through breath and sound. But beneath all of these names, it is the same thing. It is a golden current that sleeps coiled at the base of your spine, just waiting to be remembered and awakened. You begin in stillness. Sit or lie down with your spine long. Let your awareness simply drop deep into the root. Here lies gate 1, the perineum, the base of the Djed, the coiled serpent, the seed of the immortal embryo. This is the point of ignition. This is where you place your tongue at the roof of your mouth, because this tiny gesture completes the energetic circuit, bridging the front and the back meridians. That is bridging heaven and earth, masculine and feminine, and you become whole. Inhale through the nose and feel your breath not as air, but as spirit. Feel it as chi, as the whisper of your soul rising. Now it is time to trace the spine with your inner eye. Visualize the current ascending like a golden serpent, coiling through each gate. Let's talk about the gates of the microcosmic orbit. The first gate of the microcosmic orbit is the perineum, the gate of bone. This is the entrance and also the place of primal memory. This is where the body holds trauma, birth, and forgotten power. This spot you should breathe. Breathe deeply here. The second gate is the sacrum. This is the gate of blood. This is where life and death meets. This is the alchemical basin. Sexual energy begins to spiral here, transcending reproduction, and it becomes ritual at this gate. The third gate is the solar plexus. This is the gate of fire, and here will becomes the flame. You may feel resistance here, and it's just the ego's last defense. Just let it melt away. The fourth gate is the heart gate, the gate of ether. This is the secret gate. This is not just emotion, but it is the crucible of transmutation. This is the place where Shakti rises up and Shiva descends here. Their union opens the next door, and the next door or gate is the throat. This is the gate of sound and the place where breath, vibration, words, and mantra is of importance. Remember that your voice is your wand, your silence is a bell. The next gate is your third eye, also called the gate of light. Now the current begins to hum. You may feel a sort of pressure or expansion, or even a feeling of time itself just dissolving. This is where the inner and the outer vision collapse. The next gate is the crown, the gate of starfire, the womb of heaven. Here the current spills into the ether, not to leave the body, but to charge it with celestial fire. Hold your breath here, gently. Feel the light pool almost like dew at the crown. Then exhale slowly. Let the current simply descend down the front of the body. Brow to throat, throat to heart, heart to solar plexus, solar to navel, navel to pubic bone, all the way down to the womb or the perineum. This is the conceptual vessel, the channel of creation, gestation, and integration. You have just completed one orbit. Now begin again. 9 loops or 99 loops. There's no number in eternity, just let the current build. The esoteric science behind the orbit is that you are stimulating cerebrospinal fluid. the sacred liquid that nourishes the brain and spinal cord, rich in stem cells and electrical charge. As this fluid flows with your breath and intention, it triggers the pineal gland, the seat of DMT, the sacred visionary molecule once guarded by initiates. You are also igniting the vagal line, the parasympathetic reset switch that dissolves fear and restores trust to the nervous system. Each breath recalibrates the electromagnetic field of the heart, and each loop engraves a deeper pattern into your subtle body. Over time, the orbit becomes perpetual. It moves even in stillness. There are certain occult keys hidden in this circuit. In High Tantra and Taoist alchemy, it is taught that when the orbit is sustained, it awakens the three treasures: Jing, which is your essence; Qi, which is your life force; and Shen, which is spirit. These condense, refine, and birth the immortal embryo, not of flesh, but of light. In Egyptian texts, the Djed pillar vibrated with cosmic memory. Raising the Djed was not symbolic, but it was very much literal. A ritual of resurrection enacted through energy rising in the spine and sealed with sound and with breath. In the Kabbalah, this loop mirrors the central path of the Tree of Life, ascending from Malkut, which is your body, to Tiferet, which is your heart, to Keter, which is your crown, the divine spark finally returning to source. When you practice this, and when you practice this with true understanding, you are not just circulating energy, but you are rethreading the serpent that links flesh to star. You are waking the God body, the temple body, and the vessel of light. And each time that you complete this orbit, you remember that you were never just human. You were and you are a current, simply wrapped in skin, bound by breath, and waiting to rise up again. Let's discuss the Egyptian ankh, breathing right, the breath of the immortal body. Step beyond language for a moment. You are no longer just watching a video, but you are stepping back into the temple. Also, not a metaphor and not a symbol, but a temple that once stood beneath starlight, lined with columns of limestone, vibrating with charm, scent, and golden breath. And in that temple, there was a rite. The priestesses of Isis knew that the breath was more than life. It was initiation. It was the bridge between the flesh and star, between Ka and Ba, between the body and the ankh, the radiant vessel of eternal selfhood. And the shape, so the symbol itself that held this mystery, was called the ankh. The ankh is not just a symbol, but it is a map. It is a diagram of your breath and an energetic key encoded into the body. The vertical staff of the ankh is the Djed, the spinal column of Osiris. This is the pillar of eternal return. The horizontal crossbar represents the arms extended in offering, the inhale stretched across the chest. The loop above is the sacred circuit of breath, spirit, womb, and crown. And at the center lies the heart, the binding of opposites, where divine life becomes form. To breathe with the ankh is to awaken the ancient alignment of soul, form, and starlight. The rite begins in stillness. Sit with your spine tall and stable. Your spine is the Djed, upright, aware, and divine. Close your eyes here and let your breath deepen, but do not control it yet. Place your palms facing upward and resting on your thighs. You can feel the space between your fingers because you are preparing to receive here. Now bring your awareness to the base of your spine. Inhale here through the nose, drawing the breath up the spine like mist, ascending the Djed pillar. As the breath rises, visualize it curving upward and forward, forming the loop of the ankh above your crown. Hold the breath there, not with force, but with awe. This is the moment of offering, the moment that the gods lean in. Now exhale, but not downward, outward. Let the breath expand horizontally through the shoulders, across the chest, stretching from one palm to the other palm, just like the arms of the ankh symbol, extending in divine embrace. Then gently let the breath spiral back inward, down the spine and returning to the base. That is one breath. That is one ankh. Repeat this breath 7 times, or 13 times, or even 42 times, whatever number stirs something ancient in you. Because remember, memory in this rite is not a mental kind of memory, but it is a cellular kind of memory. What's happening within you is not just oxygenation. You are actually reviving the sahu, the spiritual body of form. You are engraving the pattern of the ankh, the radiant immortal vessel of light. You are breathing through the ka, your vital essence, and opening space for the ba, the soul bird, the traveler, to land. Each breath seals the union of opposites, masculine staff and the feminine loop, horizontal expansion and vertical descent, heaven and earth, crown and womb. All of this is contained within the ankh, which you are now sculpting with your breath. The priestesses worked with vibration, so you may do that too if it feels right. Chant softly on the exhale, Sahu, breath of form, or ankh, or ne, or ka, life, Lord, essence. Let the sound vibrate at the heart space where the arms of the ankh symbol crosses. Let the breath become tone, and let the tone then become remembering. With time, this breath forms an energetic lattice and it begins to hum. It begins to move on its own. You may feel tingling in your hands or a warmth at the base of your spine, or perhaps a radiant ring forming around the head space. These things are not signs of your imagination, they are signs of your activation. The ancient Egyptian priesthood did not believe immortality was granted after death, but they very much believed that it was cultivated through practice while being alive in this lifetime, through presence, through intentional breath drawn in alignment with divine geometry. The ankh is that geometry. Your breath is that offering, and your body itself is the altar. You are not merely visualizing the ankh symbol, but you are becoming it. And when the breath becomes shape, and when that shape becomes rhythm, and when the rhythm becomes light, that is when the arc body forms, the shining one, the light body, the radiant soul, the one who walks between worlds without decay, hence immortality. Let your breath return to stillness now. The rite itself is complete, but the current lives on inside of your body, your awareness, and your remembering. So let me share a little bit about who I am and why I do what I do. My name is Shani, and I'm turning 29 in July. I've been a student of the esoteric, the occult, and the mystical paths since the age of 16. Much of what I've learned has been guided by my mentor and a spiritual teacher, an adept in the truest sense of the word, who is sadly no longer with us. And I share these transmissions because I truly believe that it is my responsibility to help raise consciousness on this planet, to bring back what was once hidden, and to integrate the ancient truths into modern life. So if this practice, if this video stirred something in you, clarity, power, or remembrance, please like this video and subscribe to the channel and share your experiences in the comments below. I do read every message and I love hearing how these rites unfold within you. There's so much more to come, and if you are walking this path with me, just know that you are not walking it alone. Thank you again for being here. Thank you for listening, remembering, and receiving this with an open heart. I'll see you in the next video.